Well, we most certainly cannot have a season without an Applejack episode, now can we? And we even got a little bit more to boot, which is always a good thing. Apple Family Reunion by Cindy Morrows. This episode's plot was fairly predictable almost within the first few minutes. It was time for another Apple Family Reunion, and the Apples at Sweet Apple Acres were hosting this year. Granny Smith was usually the organizer, but Applejack volunteered to take the reins this year to let Granny Smith enjoy herself more. Good idea, except AJ becomes so worried about creating memories around structured events that she in the end overdoes everything. She in turn creates a family reunion assembly line, which she even describes herself, and again doesn't notice how her plans were actually tiring everyone out to the point where they couldn't even enjoy each other's company. Even after one of her activities destroys the barn, she's still more concerned that she ruined the memories for everyone. It is at this point that Granny Smith approaches AJ to remind her that her family and friends don't always need events to have memories. Simply sharing each other's company creates its own memories. These words of wisdom inspire AJ to follow through with the barn raising with her family. This time around, though, through a very catchy new song, the Apples enjoy themselves while participating by taking their time and making a fun family activity of the whole job. And who'd expect the first friendship lesson of the season would be from Applejack? In any case, it's a pretty straightforward lesson. Your family are your first friends in life. It's short, but it's sweet. Now, personally, this episode wasn't entirely exciting for me. This is probably due to the fact that until this episode, Season 3 has been filled with either eventful plots or anticipated storylines, whether that be Trixie's return, Scootaloo's first episode, the Wonderbolts, or an army of Pinkie Pies. It's kind of a tough act to follow. But it doesn't mean I think it was a bad episode, because it really wasn't. We finally got more concrete character building for Applejack. It's a difficult situation because I feel it is hard to build on Applejack's character compared to the rest of the main six. I agree with the sometimes cited reasoning that AJ is the least flawed character of the six. She is more often than not the voice of reason of the other five in some episodes, and oftentimes for the CMC. In the past, her only weakness was her pride getting in her way socially or with her work. We see this again when she had to hide her face because she was too proud to be seen crying in this episode. But aside from her pride, she's a mentally mature character who thinks practically. I mean, just look at how she responded to when she heard that Granny Smith has been working on the same quilt for years and never finished. She saw the lack of efficiency and practicality of Granny Smith's methods, and as such, introduced a sewing machine. This is sort of where we saw AJ's flaw this episode. She was more concerned with forcing memories by making the family reunion as efficient as possible, again, like a memory assembly line. She overlooked the traditional customs which gave the Apple family reunions their meaning to their family. In a vacuum, this is a pretty simple plot device for a character like AJ, which is why I said I predicted the plot early on in this episode. But here's the fun part about the Brony community's relationship with the development team. We get to hear the inside story. First, we knew that Lauren intended for AJ's parents to have passed away before the events of the show. Then we heard from the writers that the shooting stars, which appear twice in the episode, represent AJ's parents, who are inferred again to have passed on. Now we have a much deeper meaning to AJ's actions in this episode. As Applejack mentions,
"We got the whole family together this time round. Who knows if they'll all be able to make the next one?"
That's true. Busy as every pony's lives are getting these days, chances are pretty slim we'll be this lucky next time round.
After hearing from Granny Smith's stories and reflecting on the advanced ages of some of the Apple family members, Applejack is afraid this might be the last family reunion for some of the family. Add to this is the significance of AJ's deceased parents. When loved ones have passed, memories are all we have left to remember them by. AJ, who's now responsible for the reunion, wants to make sure the reunion is as memorable as possible for everyone. When the audience knows that AJ's parents are gone, we can sort of feel that this emphasis on memories plays a more critical role for a character like AJ than it might for another. And after we saw the handful of elderly members within the family, it is safe to say, in the dark reality, that some of these family members might not be around next year. This is why AJ worked to the point of insomnia to make sure everything was perfect, and was devastated when it didn't work out originally as planned. The first time I watched this episode, I didn't really recognize these elements, but after hearing about the shooting stars and rewatching the episode, it started to come together. But, as I mentioned, this episode was felt weakened because it was following more eventful and exciting episodes. And of course, that's just my 2 bits. On another note, the song was very upbeat and well done. Another great one. I'm glad we got to hear Ashley Ball get her own singing part, especially when she is an already accomplished professional singer. I give her extra props for also singing in AJ's accent, which gives the song a stronger uniqueness. She really is a talented individual. And if you were able to catch this quick back and forth, Babs mentions how there are 2 blank flanks at her school, and how they are interested in the CMC. It's quick, but it might be a hint at a future episode. So now that we have an AJ episode, among the few handful we have, and have the additional knowledge of confirming that AJ's parents have passed, what did you think of the episode and Applejack as a character? For me, it didn't change my thoughts on her in either direction, but I still welcome more episodes involving her. If I recall, next episode involves her and Spike, so we have more to look forward to with Applejack. But until then, I'm Wheels, thanks for watching, and happy holidays.
A lot of meaning. And you'll find that you remember the who long after you've forgotten the what. Your humble subject, Applejack.